So your stream is live.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to today's meeting. It's the first of its kind. We are starting um, today's meeting by addressing the issues and the impacts of the post-COVID-19 facing our world right now. It's no longer news that right now we are faced with this lockdown, and the effect of the pandemic all over the world has been very, very phenomenal. It was not expected at all. And as we can see, at the moment, this is badly hitting a lot of industries right now. A lot of industries are currently facing issues on different areas of the businesses. A number of people are also getting laid off as a result of the economic effects that is affecting the world right now. Now, the world itself is being hit by twin um, incidences. One is the current oil um, prices um, due to the instability and affecting the global economy currently. And then the other part is the coronavirus affecting the human existence right now. Um, we're going to do this together. We're going to have a conversation on what the future looks like and what we can do in order to sustain ourselves. Human beings are not built this way to experience some sort of lockdown and social distancing. But we know that we are built for relationships, we are built for connections. But as it is right now, it's no longer news that it's really, really heavy on us as individual, as an organization, and as a body generally. So on this regard, we're going to be talking about the economic impact of the um, post-COVID effects on the printing industries. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be live with one of our very own in the industry. He's been a very, very phenomenal fellow. He has been at the forefront of printing for a while right now. He's from CEO of Technology Global. He's a graduate of University of Lagos, and I can tell you he's a brilliant goal-getter. He has stayed on this course for a while. He has been in a um, very tough positions to make decisions when it comes to printing and printing technology. He's very, very well traveled and exposed, and I can tell you we're not going to get anything less other than a very insightful, educative, and enlightening information as we chat together on this course. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Akin Oduwole, the MD CEO of Technology Global. Akin, you have the floor right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just like you to enable me to share my screen so I can follow with a presentation.
All right, you're a co-host. I'm sure you can do that. All right, you can go ahead.
So today we're looking at how COVID-19 will or has started impacting the print technology sector. I will go through a few slides to try and put through my arguments today. And at the end of the day, I think together we would make it interactive so we can both draw conclusions on the way to go. The first is to introduce myself, but I think that Mr. Stanley has done a good job on that. So let's say, I would like to first make a public service announcement. And the public service announcement is, as we have been told, coronavirus is not a death sentence. If we take the normal precautions, if we eat healthy, if we stay safe, use our nose mask and social distance, we should be okay. And the moment we contact the virus, once we reach out to the authorities, when we see symptoms, then again, I think we should be okay because they have experts who can manage the situation. So what about our business? For the business also, COVID-19 is not a death sentence. It is a new way of doing things. We're speaking to the world with teleconferencing today. It's the first time this will happen in the printing industry in Nigeria. So we have to just embrace the change, the new way. We have to see that it's either we differentiate or we begin to die. The world has switched into survival mode. So everyone needs to now become each other's brother's keeper. The world is fighting a common enemy. So it's not a time for us to focus on our differences. We need to put aside differences and come together with solutions that will meet our corporate needs at this point in time. Technology has come to help, and that's the new cool. We must accept it. 5G is coming. It's not Antichrist, as we've heard from the church or sector. It's something that must come. We must accept it. And also, there is no way we will not see driverless cars. They're coming. It's all technology. Localization has started replacing globalization. Simplicity is replacing everything complex. We have to keep things simple. Planning has become short-term instead of the long-term planning that we normally have. So we need to plan for the next 6 months instead of the next 5 years at this point. We need to move more and more people to start working from home. That's a new mindset altogether. I don't see the need why a graphic artist should come to the office. They can work from home, and we use technology to send the files. The guy who does estimation in the press can do it from home. We can even deploy technology in such a way that all we need with costing and all that can be done by putting in the parameters, and then you get a feedback, and you know that at the end of the, you know that some people can actually work from home, but that requires a new mindset. It means that everyone needs to set up an home office. That's a new mindset. We have not been through this route before. But how can technology ensure this happens? How can we use technology to ensure that we can maintain our life this period? And that's what we're going to look at today. So the public service announcement is that COVID-19 is not a death sentence. Let's put that at the back of our mind before we actually start moving forward. But again, what has COVID-19 brought to us? It's brought three things. It's brought the good, it's brought the bad, and it's brought the ugly with it. And the good is definitely new businesses will emerge. It's a wake-up call for some sleeping industry, for sure. Some industries will begin to come back to life. Pharmaceutical industry has just got a new leap. The science and technological sector of the world has just got a new leaf. So they have to wake up to the realization that viruses are real, and they have to help us with ways to catch them before they catch us. The health sector and security and security culture of nations have also started improving. And we see people keeping their hygiene better now. We see people washing their hands and all that. So this is the good that the pandemic has brought to us. But the bad again is that some people will lose their job, and we will have skilled people sitting at home complaining that, oh, we don't have money to actualize our dreams and things like that. We will see a shrink in trade between China and many other countries. Some countries will begin to move out of China, but it isn't China's fault there's a pandemic. But I mean, that's the reality that will come with it. So that's the bad that we're going to see. We already are also seen that international travel is already greatly affected. And again, what's the ugly? The ugly is, unfortunately, we will lose some people to the pandemic. People are already started dying, and it's unfortunate, but that's part of the ugly that we'll see. There will be a rise in the cost of some basic commodities, and again, crime might increase because a lot more people will be idle. Confusion are setting, people don't know what to do. And that's why it's important to have a conference to reassure the people that we need to reinvent, we need to recreate. Many businesses across the world will definitely suffer and as a result of this. But again, the takeaway is the world is changing. The world has suddenly become desperate for innovation and solutions. So the one who can think through innovation, the one who can think through solutions at this point in time will actually be the one leading the industry. People are basically looking for three things: food, because we need to survive; money, because we need to spend money; and then that also brings us to making sure that we save money at the end of it all. People are also looking for security, personality, physical security, mental security, health security. Security is also a way to go because these are needs that are real and people are actually looking for at this point in time. But technology is a tool that can help us cope with the pandemic, and we must accept it. We must use technology to make sure that we can accept it. We can make it, we can make life more comfortable as we walk through the process. Now, if we continue, we will see that there are some businesses that will definitely be affected than others. So the impact on technology means some sectors will suffer. It means that some sectors will boom, and it means that, as we have rightly quoted, that new sectors will definitely begin to emerge. Let's look at some sectors that will suffer. One of them is the large format printing sector, and not their fault, just the way the technology has been made. You cannot leave the machine unused for a long time. I know that a lot of my friends with large format machines have already printed because they didn't prepare well for the lockdown, and there are things that they ought to have done. They didn't do that, and they went on the lockdown, and now they're back in their various offices, and they realize, oh, the printer is clogged, and they need to replace it. This is the way the technology is. So they're going to suffer in terms of cost of replacing printers, and the fact that the business is actually not there at this point in time, because this sector is with the guys who are in the events and planning, event planners and the manager. So there is no signage being printed at this time. There are no events going on. So it's a tough time for those with the large format printing equipment. But again, pandemic will not be forever. The economy can be shut down forever. So see that the economy will be opened gradually. And as it is being opened, it is important for those in that sector to use the pull marketing strategy. And what this means is that they have to create business. They have to start designing things that will help us with social distancing. They have to start ensuring that people can sit and be comfortable eventually when it's open, entries begin to open. So the need for the large format printers to rethink and make sure that they can bring up ideas that will help them do more business. For instance, I have not seen a wallet made with Flex. So you can print on Flex and get a sewing machine to sew it into a wallet. I mean, let's create something that will be African or Nigerian, and we can embrace that. That's the only thing that those in the large format sector can do at this point in time. Another sector that will suffer is the newspaper, and they are already suffering because readership is reducing, because the online news is gaining more ground. I mean, we do not wait for breaking news anymore. It gets to us before we know it. And in the past, had to wait for the newspaper in the morning to get the breaking news. That's totally gone. But the newspaper industry is not dead. There is a way that they can begin to create for us some regional newspapers. There's a way they can begin to print newspapers in local language. There's a way that they can come up and partner with the supermarkets to help make the needs to tell the needs of those who go to the supermarket and have been registered as frequent buyers in the supermarket. The things they want to buy can be printed and it's customized to each customer. So there is a lot that the newspaper industry can do. Another thing they can do is to embrace technology and start using the cloud. They also need to work from. There was confusion in Lagos yesterday when policemen started also harassing the newspaper people and the doctors because they say the curfew that's the new instruction as of yesterday. Maybe that will change, we don't know. But again, we're beginning to see that even the guys in the newspaper sector needs to begin to work from home. So there is a need to look at a cloud system where the publisher, the editors, the news reporters, the production people can relate. And in this cloud-based system, they don't need infrastructure. They don't need to build and pay for infrastructure. They just pay the companies providing this cloud system a subscription, the way we pay subscription for our DSTV at home. And then once you pay, you activate it, you can do all your work in the cloud, approve the news that should go out. Production people see what is approved and they can discern which news is going to the space, on which news is going to print, or which news is going to both sectors. And for those who have printing machines across Nigeria, they decide which paper to print at what location. And this can be easily using the cloud, and this is technology in action. So the newspaper people are not supposed to panic at this point. It's just a time to rethink. Again, there are a lot of people here in this sector who are not trained journalists. Everybody has become a reporter. Once you have a smartphone, you take the video or picture of the thing and you tell your own story, and that's what the world has turned into. So how can the newspaper sector bring in some training for those who want this profession? They can also provide space for those guys, the bloggers, on their cloud and organize trainings for them. So they know that they have to verify news before they break it. They know they have to make sure the news are verified. So we can stamp out fake news and reduce the fear that we get in the society in this time of pandemic. So another sector we're going to look at that offer and is already suffering is the CTP, the pre-press sector. These guys feed the offset presses with image plates. And the volume of conventional offset printing is dropping daily, and you can see the growth coming in the digital sector because everyone wants the print and they want it now, and everyone wants personalization. Mass customization is taking over from mass production, and people don't have enough money to pay for keeping stock of some print material. So they just want to print on demand. And we see that there is a drop here. But yeah, there's a problem that was created by the guys in this sector before the pandemic. This problem is that of price war. I think that this is the season for these guys in this sector to come together and discuss on how to ensure that pricing is right. Peradventure, the business will boom again, but at the end of it, all they've used price war to damage what they should earn and save at the period before the pandemic. So this is a time to come together and regulate pricing and make sure that they have enough margin to take care of equipment breakdown and things like that. And meanwhile, there are sectors that will definitely boom, and these sectors have to do with lifestyle. One of the sectors that will boom in this period is the label and packaging sector. The printers in this sector will have a boom In fact, during the lockdown, these guys were still working because they were producing, they're part of the value chain for food production. So this sector will continue to boom. And we know that pharmaceutical companies will come up. We know that new innovations will come up in the pharmaceutical sector. So graphic artists, sharpen your skills, prepare harder to give the designs that are befitting. We know that some pharmaceutical company will begin to rebrand because this is the period. So printers, packaging printers need to begin to think of how to provide better services because this sector will definitely see some growth in the coming season. Again, there is no events, there is no gathering, but we still have to wear clothes. I see a lot of us are logged in here, see us in our beautiful clothes. So definitely the textile printing and decorating sector will boom. And as it is now, they're already making face masks. The other day I was sent a face mask with my face on it, you know, we're seeing innovations that are coming up. They're making personal protective clothing for those in the front line. They're very soon the schools will begin to reopen again. School uniforms will be printed. People will change houses, curtains will be printed. The home decor sector will boom, and that's one sector to actually look out for because the technology is advancing. And in this sector, we're also beginning to see equipment that can print directly to the fabric. So in the past, we had sublimation, and now we're beginning to see equipment that can print on curtain directly. We see equipment that can directly on, also print directly on t-shirts and all that. But there are some sectors that will also emerge, and it will be good to look at these sectors also. One of those sectors is the 3D printing. We can see that during the pandemic period, some countries are using 3D printing machines to make prototypes of ventilators. And we will see more of this. The medical sector is desperate, so 3D printing will begin to grow. We will see some growth in there. So the guys who have invested in this sector and think, oh, it's not for Nigeria, this is the time to repackage it and bring it out again. This sector is going to start to boom. A sector that we think will boom also is the screen printing sector. You have the signages to print. It's time to begin to enhance your machines, enhance your skills so we can begin to print for technology, because it's the world of technology. And the boards in the laptop, in the smartphones are printed. The micro boards are printed using screen printing. So those boards can be printed by screen printers. And I know that if we continue to do the right things, there will be a lot of boom in that sector. And I foresee also that some young people begin to create some apps, because this is the future. Apps will come up that will help us with some buying and selling in the printing industry. This app will link buyers to sellers and ensure that we all have businesses and we have things to do in this sector. And the next set of people is, I would like all of us to put a challenge to them. Our engineers, print engineers and technicians, everyone who has installed and repaired printing machine. This is a time to see how we can produce something locally. We're moving away from globalization. We need to be able to produce something locally. So the next time you have an issue in your press, invite the technical people, let them see how they can fabricate something that can help solve the problem. There is no need to start looking outward. We need to create the job. We need to use some pull strategy to ensure that we create job for our industry. Opportunities also still abound in the print training sector. So I foresee collaborations with international training schools, training schools. I foresee that some print training schools will begin to look for dealers in Africa and in this part of the world, and training will become something that will be interesting in the near future, especially because a lot of us need more education to be able to cope with the new technology that will be coming. So these are some sectors that I feel, and if we look at it critically, there are three main sectors in any industry that makes any industry distinct, and the printing industry is not exempted. The primary sector is that does the extraction and raw material. So we need to begin to see us look for people who can understand how we can get pigments, how we can make pigments, manufacturing inks, to start to ensure that we're producing some of our consumables locally. So the extraction and raw material sector is still virgin, and there must be opportunity in this area, and technology will definitely move towards that area to enhance it. The secondary part is manufacturing that I spoke about. So we will begin to see some engineers come up with innovations and things help us cope better in this period. The third sector, of course, is the service sector where most of us are. And this service sector has been badly affected. So we need to begin to look at how to tie our products to trend and lifestyle. So if your product is not tied to trend and lifestyle, then you might have issues. You need to begin to be the one to bring out products attractive to the public. And the reason is simple, because printing is everything. We add creativity to the world. We enhance living world. We understand impression. We understand colors. In fact, the money we spend, we print the money. We beautify the street with the signposts and all that. We show direction, especially also in the food and drug business. We print prescription, and we make sure that these things that are printed would help the people. And there's a need to begin to look at this industry as one that feeds a lot of people. This industry feeds the world. This is the only industry that in the world will feed every other industry. In oil and gas, we're there. We will print the labels for the engine oil. In aviation, we're there. We will print the tickets. We will print the in-flight magazines and what have you. Which sector are we not there? Education, we're there with the books and all that. So it's a sector that cuts across all other professions. And what we need at this point in time is to see how we can meet needs and relevance. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not possible for printing to die at this point in time. All we need to do is reinvent. Have you entered a supermarket lately? That's the power of label. Everything you see in the supermarket is branded and printed. And there is no way we don't come in contact with prints in our day-to-day life. Today, I had a breakfast with cereal. My milk was packaged, printed, metal decorator, decorated the can for my peak milk, for the powdered milk that I had this morning. My cereal was also packaged, flexible packaging, that aspect. So printing is relevant, and we must make sure we keep it relevant, and we must make sure we adopt the technology and make sure that we remain positive in this time of pandemic. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that we've been able to add a bit of value this morning. Thank you so much.
Wow, a very big round of applause to Mr. Akinwumi, CEO of Technology Global. This is another phenomenal one. I must say that I'm so glad. Thank you, Mr. Akin. This has rejuvenated the kind of hope and the kind of bubbling right now that in the printing industry, it is not a walkover, just put it that way, so that there is hope and there is plan for reinvention and there is plan for strategizing on the next line of products to be printed, then the next line of products to be packaged, and the next line for textile. In fact, I think that's another area that has just, I don't even think it has been scratched on the surface.
The manufacturing industries right now also doing a lot of labels, a lot of packaging materials, and a lot of leaflets, at least to educate people on the manual, or at least just to give an insight of how the product works or how it's supposed to be used, especially in the pharmaceutical industry, where you need leaflets to give directions to the number of pills to be taken, the number of tablets to be taken, and how product is supposed to be used. Thank you very much, Mr. Ake. I think we can give an emoji of a round of applause to show clapping on our screens to just say thank you very much. Thank you very much. Both of us in our videos, we can give you a hand clap and say thank you very much, Mr. Ake. That's a wonderful one. Very, very enlightening and insightful. Thanks so very much. All right, our time is fast spent. Let's quickly move to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Adejoju. Mr. Adejoju Adekombi is another wonderful giant in the industry. He's been around for a number of years. He has done a lot in the printing space. And without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, he's the MD CEO of How to Print, CMYK, Nigeria Limited, both in Nigeria and in Ghana. All right. Without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, please join us to welcome Mr. Joju Adekombi. He's our next speaker for this session. He's going to be talking to us about the social and the economic impact of COVID-19 on the printing industry. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Joju. Mr. Joju, you're on.
I hope everybody can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Can I start with my screen?
Why not? You can.
Can you see my screen?
You can see your screen, yes. You can share. Okay, while we're still waiting, ladies and gentlemen, you can put up your questions in the chat room just below your screen. You can see the questions. You can put in your questions. You can see your questions, and then the speakers will attend to the questions one after the other. So let's let our question keep coming and direct it to the specific speakers if you want. Whoever you want to attend to your question, you can signify in your questions. Thank you very much. Mr. Joju, are you ready for us right now?
I'm trying to do the sharing now.
Okay. Are you able to see it?
No. Can you see it now?
All right, we can see your screen right now. Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay.
All right, better now. Full screen. Yeah.
Good
You have the floor now.
Yeah, good morning. And a big thanks to those joining us from, I can see from Poland. That is Andrew Mason. How are you? And other colleagues. My agenda here is to help us to appreciate the economic impact, the social impact. We had a bit of survey of printers across the country from the west, east, north, and the south. And we put a bit of survey together to be able to address the social and economic impact of COVID-19 on the industry. So the agenda is just going to look at where the shoe pinches, the business shock, how can we understand the scenario, then we call for action, and we have to look at the future. Is there any future for the industry after COVID? So let's start. 2020 started with a promise. So everybody celebrated, and we had our plans in place to meet a certain objective. Unfortunately, coronavirus put everybody at a standstill. Almost all industries we are at a standstill, no restriction. I mean, a lot of restriction all around the world, and automatically that brings about a business and contraction in the industry, making a lot of sales volume that's supposed to be in business decline. Through the survey that we had, about 95% of printers that we surveyed say they had a very, very low volume of sales, and that resulted in income that was declining, and automatically the revenue too was very low. The revenue was about 65%. The 65% is a result of some stakeholders that think that the industry has a very, very bleak future. And that's why in looking at the negatives and the positives of COVID-19, while we are very, very much confused about thinking of opting out of printing, that is of the print business, others are thinking out as if there is no box. They were very optimistic, they were very creative, and they fall in line to adapt to the changes in the demands of the sector. Especially, they are putting their services to the essential services sector, the health and safety. Some are putting their business to the drugs, foods, the packaging people, the label people. Unfortunately, too, we had a reduction, as we said, in business volume, and then this resulted in revenue fall. So positive has to do with those people that could be able to adapt to change, but negative has to do with those people that were confused and they couldn't be able to know what the future will hold for them. When we put the statistics together, we discovered that about 95%, more than 95% of industry stakeholders had a very, very decrease in their print business in terms of what kind of job they do and the rest. But again, there are other people that tailor their business to what sustains life. Those people in packaging, those people in labeling, the textile sector, aside those people that are in the essential services sector, those people that are doing PPE, they are producing the face masks, the dispensary units. Quite a number of operators in this sector too. We are thinking of reducing their staff because of reduction in volumes of business, and about less than 20%. We are thinking of opting out of the business of the sector. The social impacts, the number one is, unfortunately, we lost a lot of stakeholders in the industry. But we are fortunate to have a rethinking session, especially for those people that were creative, that could be able to adapt. So the social impact, while it affected those people that are having job loss, other businesses were into humanity. They were supporting staff in terms of palliative, supporting community, not forgetting their health too. Of our respondents, about 95% of people are thinking of actually closing down, as it were, in terms of job loss. Now, what were the printers doing at this moment? We found out that a lot of printers that are smiling to the banks are into essential services, so fighting COVID-19. Some are into pharmaceuticals production and package production, like label and the rest, and others are into food business. Aside that, others are producing the PPEs, the face masks and the dispensary units, while some are into social media, especially to connect to their customers. Some really want to determine what are the likely changes post-crisis, post-COVID-19. Then a greater number of stakeholders too, we are expanding their e-commerce and their web capabilities. We found out again that a lot of operators were online, doing training, learning new skills, especially Internet of Things, health and safety, and customer service orientation. As we said before, a lot were very, very confused. Why? Because they don't know when the economy will bounce back, and they don't know when the restrictions will be eased. But generally, the printers that we spoke with, they had a lot of hope, and they were determined to make sure that they are still in business. Now, how do we understand this scenario, especially in terms of understanding the drastic change in social and economic impacts of COVID-19? The economic impacts, the number one fallout of COVID-19 is actually the business shock, the sudden halt in economic activities, meaning that all projections were negative, inability of printers or stakeholders to plan as a result of uncertainty. The number two thing is the decline in sales volume, as I said before. Why job loss, especially those workers that cannot be able to think differently. They cannot be able to multitask. Then the fourth thing that happened, especially in this economy is the revenue, the new revenue from innovation. Those people in essential services, those people in safety and food, they were actually smiling to the banks, to their banks. Now the social impact is actually because of fear. A lot of people were very confused, and this was aggravated by the media. The online, the social media, even those news that are not really true. But the number one impact socially is the number of job loss in the industry. The health and safety of workers too was another thing that stakeholders were thinking of. Then the third thing is how we can be able to determine the kind of quality of our staffs. The staff that cannot be able to multitask, we are really, really redundant. The staff that cannot be able to think differently, we are almost let loose. So, but another thing is how can we try to implement government health and safety rules? Those are some of the things that stakeholders were thinking of. Like the health and safety regulation by governments when business open, like the contamination of premises and facilities. Some stakeholders are saying, how can we determine who is actually certified, a government certified agency to do this, or the approved disinfectants or fumigants to use. Others are thinking of the hygiene. How can we produce all these added costs to our business? How can we ensure social distancing in the business? Like Lagos State government has a 60% staff capacity at any point in time. How can we do that? The installation of appropriate safety and warning signs is another thing that government said we should put in place before we open. So how can they do that? That's an opportunity for printers too to come in, but some are asking questions, how can they partake in that? Then lastly, how can they reconfigure their offices so that they can stagger their work schedule so that when they come in, they can be able to maintain the 60% staff capacity. From the survey that we have, we can be able to recommend some of these action plans in able to deal with COVID, or even thinking post-COVIDly. Number one is the printers that were innovative. You know, those people that are very creative, they can be able to rethink their businesses. Those are the ones that are smiling to the bank. So we believe that printers actually need to start thinking outside COVID now. They're supposed to start getting intelligence from their customers on how they can be able to work with them. The second thing is to be able to reward innovative and multitasking staff. Next is for us to sit down with all the stakeholders, especially suppliers, banks, even landlords and landladies, to be able to agree and rethink how businesses is going to benefit all, how COVID-19 aftermath is going to benefit all. Another recommendation is the fact that print businesses need to diversify their businesses, especially in line with those businesses that are synonymous to living. You know, we are talking about food, packaging, we are talking about pharmaceutical businesses, label, and the rest. Then the opportunity in training and retraining of staff. We need to explore palliatives from governments, from banks, from industry associations, so that we can be able to cushion the effects of COVID-19. Then thinking ahead, we need to save for the rainy day. COVID is now. What about 2021, 2022, and 2023 when the election comes in? So are we thinking in that line? Then lastly, we need to take advantage of the IoT, the Internet of Things. Web is the new normal now, as we say, and even after COVID, there will still be internet to deal with. So we need to beef up all our online sales strategies and use our social media to the optimum. Our recommendation in dealing with the social impacts, recession is here, but how can we move out of recession so that depression can be lower? So we need to make sure that we outside getting the quality staff, we need to make sure that we reward them so that they can feel along and be more, do more. If you are thinking of laying off staff, what are the options available? We're supposed to sit down with them and mutually agree on the benefit to all, because there's still a future after COVID. The staff that we say we are trying to lay off now, what if the job, the business pick up? We may try to call them back, and so we need to be very careful in dealing with staff layoff at this moment. We have to re-examine our policies, our system, our strategies in line with what government health and safety rules says now. Then we need to use common sense in handling tools in the print business. I use Squiddy as an example. That's supposed to be a central place for us to keep. After proper cleaning and washing of some of the tools that we use, we need to make sure that as much as possible, we think about our health and safety. Then how can we be able to work so that we can ensure equity and equality? You know, we have the issue of man and woman, ladies and gents in printing, and most of the ladies will always say that they are not ladies as in terms of femininity. What a man can do, they can easily do better. So we need to make sure that our communication to workers at this moment is very, very clear, is unambiguous, and also that we can have a clear idea of where we are going. Then lastly, we need to ensure that we contribute to our community. They are very, very close to us. Anything that happens to us almost happens to them because we are in their vicinity. So we need to make sure that they are not left out in anything that we are doing socially now. One thing that is very interesting is the number of feedback that we have from operators about how what kind of workers should be able to work with them. And this is very interesting. The COVID actually brought out a lot of hidden truths in the industry. For instance, majority of them say that more than 90% are saying that only those people that are innovative, I mean, the workers that are innovative, they can be able to take calculated risk, and those are the people that they can work with for now. About 70% of them are saying that those people that are multitasking, they are flexible, and they can be able to think differently from others. About 70% of that are what workers, operators want as their workers. Then 50% say they would need rugged and energetic workforce. Those people that are not allergic to maybe health issues, they can easily call them anytime and to deal with one issue or the other. So 50% of operators say they need those kind of workers to work with. Then below the average is the 40% of those people that are committed and are trustworthy. What does the future hold after COVID? We say it's very, very bright. Number one is Nigeria is a population of more than 200 million. And when the World Bank is giving our capacity, this is 2019 figures, at $2,213 it shows that it's quite huge, and the future is very, very certain for us. Our growth rate as at 2019 was 2.6 according to World Bank. So I think if we can be able to put our demography together, the male and the female together, we can be able to tap opportunities in the business, for the business. Our journey after COVID is going to be from this year. We think that it's going to be very, very cautious. We are going to be optimistic, but our optimism will be very cautious. We will use this 2020 to really put our book together and plan ahead. 2021 is going to be a decision year for the industry. People will be thinking of which sector to invest in, the finance options, what kind of suppliers do we need, what about their after-sales service. Those are some of the things that operators will be looking at, so that they won't say after 1 or 2 years, when they buy a machine or an equipment, it's going to be put in a museum as an antique. So 2021 is going to be a year for decision making. We are going over to Drupa, and people will be there live to see the innovation, to see the trend, and to see the opportunities too. Then 22 is our investment year. That year is going to be an investment year with planning, with training, rather. And in 2023, when we made a lot of investments, definitely it's going to tally with our election year, which is 2023. I hope printers will be very prepared for that. Thank you very much. I rest my case. That's, yeah.
I think case is already rested. With the man taking a bow on the screen, I can say that that's our response as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Joju. We could put our hands together and give a round of applause. That's a very good, amazing one. Very insightful, I must say, and I feel there's lots to learn from it. It's a lot for one to go and sit down and then gradually consume and see what is in it in order to move forward. As we said earlier, that this is just to broaden our perception. This is to help us navigate and rethink what we can do. We also want to empower situations, want to look at opportunities, want to recommit ourselves, and want to also challenge the stereotype right now. Because as it is right now, there is no body on this planet that is actually not feeling this heat as it is. So I will take time to see if we have questions, so we can ask the questions from the audience. If you have questions, please type in into the Zoom group chat so speakers can answer your questions. But so far, we got a question here, and the question is directed at Mr. Aki. It's on PANS technology. The question here says, should we expect printing technology should we expect printing technology will evolve with new developments that will drive demand and revive our social and economic growth? Let me take that again. The question says, should we expect printing technology to evolve with a new development that will drive demands and revive our social and economic growth? I think that's well understood, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Printing is what we know about the printing industry is that technology changes every 4 years, and this is based on the fact that we have a printing exhibition, an international printing exhibition that happens every 4 years, and that happens to be the biggest printing exhibition in the world. So every supplier is already under pressure to make sure that they produce something against these exhibitions. Now, what has happened is we are trying to produce something for an exhibition, and then there's a pandemic that has changed the world. So what we should be expecting now in technology aspect is, my prediction is that a lot of the suppliers will come together to collaborate. And that's why I think that we, the users of the equipment, should also come together and collaborate. Collaboration is key in going forward. And we're beginning to see this collaboration. We're beginning to see ink suppliers, digital presses manufacturer, working with the offset press manufacturer to bring us technology that will be, in quotes, offset with digital ink, offset with a digital undertone. So these are things that we'll see happen. And again, we're already beginning to see also that we cannot survive without the internet. So we're beginning to see cloud-based technology in the newspaper sector, in the B2B marketing sector, in areas that we're bringing by together with all that. So I think that technology will keep emerging. And as we go right now, we're in survival mode. So everyone is looking for what will keep us alive till we can bounce back again. So at this point in time, technology that will help us survive are the things that will come in the forefront. And those things that will help us put food on our table, because we need food to survive. Those things that will help us with security, our job security, our health security, our business security, and all that will ensure that we stay in, we survive, you know, at the end of the day. I mean, the way I see it is, we didn't expect the pandemic. No one expected it. So it came suddenly. It's just like you driving your car on the road and one girl crosses the road. And the first thing you try to do is to save the life. So you apply the brake. And once you apply the brake, you're trying to survive. You're trying to save one's life. If you apply the brake and it doesn't work and you hit down the child, all you will do is also to rush the child to the hospital to make sure the child survives. So in a situation where we don't expect what is coming, the first thing we need to think about is survival. And that's the kind of technology that I think will come up right now to keep us alive, to make us survive. And then at the end of everything, the world will be redefined, will be reset, and then we will know which directions really that we can go on to.
Well, I think that's a justice to that question. Interesting. Mr. King, sorry, before I let you go, someone is asking in the chat room, he's saying, what is the future? He said, my question goes to Mr. King, what is the future of books and academic printing in Nigeria? Books and academic printing in Nigeria. What's the future?
Yeah, I've been asked this question many times, and honestly, it is just logical to give people options morally. You cannot rent me a house and say that I cannot park my car in front of my house. I must have the option of where to park my car, even if you rent me a house. So you know that there is a disruption in especially the things we read, because things have gone online. But some people still want to read books. So we must allow them and give them that option, not for the sake of anything, but for the sake of also protecting our own industry. We cannot kill books. We cannot join them to kill books and academics. We must ensure that we keep reading. We must keep the reading culture alive. We must make sure that our printers are busy producing something that we can read. And again, on the part of the book publisher, some creativity needs to also come in. I mean, my teenage child will rather read a book on a tablet than to read it physically. How can we make the physical book attractive? How can we bring the digital feel of reading on a tablet into the book? These are things we need to think about. And this is not the job of one person. We all have to keep thinking and keep reinventing and keep making it possible. But as a matter of fact, you can't stop me from books. So books won't die as far as I'm concerned. Newspaper won't die as far as I know. They will evolve. Some markets will go to some new sectors, but the old sector must begin to innovate and make sure that there is a need for their own materials at the end. I hope that's clear, That was from Mr. Tony.
Yeah, Mr. Tony Moma. Okay, let me quickly take a time and go to Mr. Jobu. Mr. Jobu has a question here. And the question says, what should I expect? Sir, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
All right. The question is, what should we expect from our customers after the COVID-19?
We know we are printers. All the criteria to get a job, quality prints, on-time delivery, very, very important. But after COVID now, what I'm thinking that customers will be looking out for is those creative thinkers. They'll be looking out for those printers that are going to be thinking ahead. They're going to be the ones that are going to go over to competitors' businesses and see the idea they can use to translate that business into money-making venture. Another thing is for printers to start thinking how they can turn a product, especially those products that are security inclined.
Yeah.
If they can be able to think security details into packaging, into label production, so that counterfeits will be very, very reduced. We are in pharmaceutical business has a lot of counterfeits. So creative thinkers are very, very key after COVID-19. And those people that can easily think ahead, they can sit down with their customers. It's better for operators now to start thinking with their customers, to be real solution providers. And they should be able to think, especially when they are doing production or when they are trying to bring up an idea. Printers are supposed to sit down with them and tell them the option that is going to save them money and is going to ensure that they make more money in return. So those two things are very key now after COVID.
Thank you very much. I also got another question, which I think is relative to that of the one you just answered. Now the question here says, what should be the focus of the printer as a result of the new normal? That's why I said it's related to the first one. If patronages from churches and events are not going to remain the same.
COVID has already brought out the best in some printers, you know.
Okay.
Social distancing is on, but we are thinking in the next 1 or 2 weeks, there will be a lot of relaxation in terms of social gathering concerning churches and events. But for now, what they supposed to start thinking about are some of the things that Akin made in his presentation. If you look at the presentation very well, we found out that printers supposed to start thinking and how to when the business starts picking up, how can they start pulling the customers in terms of those people in large formats, in terms of doing the indoor prints, in terms of going over, even now, going over to stores, the in-stores designs. How can they be able to make sure that those products or brands attract customers to buy? So I think outside the social gathering, and there are still patronage, there are still some other businesses going to be in indoor. And the people that are doing the flyers and the rest can easily tailor their time to indoor activities, do more of publicity material for indoor information signages for indoor use, those safety designs for indoor for the offices and you know, a lot of other businesses have multiple locations. So we can put all these things together and have signages or safety measures or information to multiple businesses. Then I think for now, those are some of the things that they can do.
I think that answers it. Thanks so very much. And I also want to add to you that going into the market, I think we still see new products coming up, and we still see a lot of brand promotions, brand awareness for different products and all that. I still see danglers, still see some styrofoam and what's it called, materials that are used to protect the names of brands. And I know that this obviously cannot go obsolete. Well, thank you very much for that. Let's quickly go to Mr. Akin. There's a question here for you from Mr. Sylvester Jimmy. So my question is for Mr. Akin. What is the future of artificial intelligence with the printing industries? What is the future of artificial intelligence with the printing industries?
That's a very interesting question. Artificial intelligence is technology. Artificial intelligence is also called machine intelligence in some cases. There is no way we can survive with printing without machines, you know? So let's even look at the history of printing from the beginning. I think the idea of the printing press was conceived because some people thought they needed to print the Bible, to mass produce the Bible, you know? And to do that, we needed a machine. So AI came into play from the beginning. You notice that the guys who do not do printing are the ones who don't upgrade their machines. Have you noticed that? So people come into printing, you invest some amount of money, and you think that after that investment, you will stay there, you will stay like that. Then we won't survive because the technology keeps moving. So artificial intelligence is printing itself. Printing itself uses artificial intelligence as a tool for us to be able to achieve whatever we're achieving. How do we test color? The spectrometers and all that. They are the robots that help us to see what our colors are. They help us to see if our calibrations are right, you know? So at the end of the day, we can't separate printing from the machine. So for me, if you're a printer, you have to consider the man, the money, and the machine. So the man is who is working for you. The money is your investment to get everything in place. And the machine is your printing press, your printing equipment. So artificial intelligence will always be relevant, I'm sure of that.
Thank you very much. There's also another question here for you from one of our fathers in the industry. The question says, the printing industry will need support from the government to stay afloat. Exchange rate, VAT, port charges are up, and cost of most printing materials will go up. Are we working on any representation to the government through CPON to help the industry? I believe this is a very crucial one. and Mr. Jackie, I would like you to also support in that question.
Yeah, okay. Let me first clarify that I didn't come here on the platform of CPON. So although I'm the secretary to the CPON Council, yeah, but I didn't come here up. So I might not be able. Yeah, in that capacity, so I might be able to talk to you as CPON, as it were. But again, if we look at the industry we have, are we not lucky to have a tool like CPON? I will say we're very lucky to have that tool. But what do we need to sharpen our tool? I mean, that's our cutlass, to cut the bush and create a pathway for every one of us to be able to walk in. But what do we need to do to open this tool? Because this door, as it were. And if we look at the industry government listen to, it is an industry that is people-oriented. It's an industry that has membership. So I think the first step for us is to all go and register to become CPON members. So that if CPON can boast of 1 million members, there is no way a government will not listen to 1 million people. There is no way that will happen. If CPON can boast of 1 million members and we can collate the data, what we have, and present our case properly to the government, I mean, a lot of things will change. A lot of things will change. I personally think that a lot of things are not right. In policy, for instance, we need to be thinking about building an industrial economy, an economy where factories are everywhere instead of churches. That kind of economy needs to be built by people who understand their left from right. Speaking with governments requires lobbying. It requires a lot of things, but it also requires subtle pressure. And to do that, you need members. And so I will say that I will throw this question back and advise that everyone speaks to the other person to make sure that we register to become CPON members. Once we have enough membership, then it's easy for us to do anything. It's easy for us to force the government to understand our specific need. Government does not even know us now, as it were. Printing is not even recognized as part of the creative industry. And meanwhile, which industry is the creative of all creative industries? It should be the printer. I mean, graphic artists, I doff my heart any day for those guys. You know, they can bring life out of something that is dead. They can bring things back to life. Those guys are magicians. And a country that does not understand that those guys are creative, then we have a bit of a problem. But the problem is fixable. The problem is redeemable. We have to take it a step at a time. We have to remain focused. We have to remain together, and we have to ensure that we always engage our leadership. That has been the problem for a while. We left our leadership without engaging them, and we got to the position where we are right now. But it's redeemable, and we all have to work together to make it happen.
Fantastic. I believe that's a good one. Mr. Jojo, do you want to add to that?
I can say all. What I would like to put with what Mr. Bankole said is it's far important for every one of us to unite. We don't see ourselves as antagonists. There's a question in there in terms of pricing. I mean, if we can easily unite in terms of how we want the industry to be regulated, how the industry is supposed to be run, then we can see a very, very big light at the end of the dark tunnel. The new leadership
maybe I should just ask you that question directly. Because the question here says, my challenge is the unhealthy competition in pricing of our products in the printing industry. With the downturn in the month ahead and investing in new technologies, how do we ensure proper pricing after COVID-19?
My own submission is the fact that pricing is a result of what you have and what you can be able to produce. You see, there are so many of these of our printers, the quote and unquote. We don't know where they get their products from, and I don't think that they are looking at the future of their business. If they are looking at the future of their business, then price war should not be the determinants. The determinants for their business are supposed to be the quality service, supposed to be the solution provision. The business is supposed to be a business, not something that you just do for 1 year or 2 years and then you pack up. So if in the meantime, if stakeholders can come together and say this is what we think we should be able to do, and because there are so many of top printers, no matter how small or how little you charge for a product or you ask for a discount, they won't go lower than what the costing and estimation guy must have given them. So and you can see the successes of their business. And those people that are actually charging very, very low or condoning the price war are those people that are doing business one day, the next day, you don't see them anymore. So which area or which of the divide do you want to be? Do you want to be in the long run or in the short run? So where do you get your consumables from? Where do you get your input from? And are you paying taxes? Are you paying the rent you are paying? Are you paying? How many staff do you have? So many people do not have overhead, and they can easily do what they want to do. But those people that they know their onions will always keep to selling at the right price that everybody will be happy. We are looking at the future of the industry. We're not looking at now. So that price war is not what an industry can say because the market is open. Except we have to say, okay, yes, as an association in Shomolu or in Mushin, this is the amount that we want to sell, no matter what. Then don't sell. Or there are a lot of in the evening or in the night, so they can easily call the customer and say, oh, please, are you the one? Are you the one paying my children's school fees? Are you the one paying my rents and
are you the one paying my bills?
Are you the one paying my bills? So this if stakeholders can come together, one, then number two, a lot of operators need to really, really sit down and say, this is my cost. If you cannot be able to pay for it, thank you very much. Next time you will come back, and we see a lot of printers standing on their ground. At the end of the day, the people that went into to other competition, they will come back again and say, okay, because the job is bad or whatever, please, can you help me to do a rerun? So this kind of a situation has to stop when we start standing up and saying, this is what we want to do. And I know the customers will oblige one way or the other when they know that you are getting quality. You're getting the best service.
I also like what Mr. Ele just said, that we should start seeing ourselves as participants, not competitors, where everyone will have the interest of every other person. It speaks about the ecosystem. If we don't understand how the world works, then it's difficult to understand how we compete. In the world, humans are breathing oxygen and they breathe out carbon dioxide for the plants to breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen for us. So there's an exchange. Everyone needs to understand their role in this pricing thing. You see, the pricing can be a very complex topic, and it can be a complex thing to achieve. But I look at a country like Nigeria and I look at vulcanizers. They pump tire for 200 naira. Anywhere you go in Lagos, It does not matter if it is Abule Egba or Ijegun or Badagry, anywhere you go in Lagos. How can the organizers be united and printers cannot be united? It doesn't make any sense as far as I'm concerned. I mean, tomorrow, I said it before, if everything goes up, I have not seen the price of impression go up in printing. I have not seen the price of CTP plates go up in printing. All we see is that no matter how the exchange rate goes up, no matter how the price of consumable and everything goes up, the printers keep dropping their price. Does that make sense to us? We need to sit down and talk to ourselves. We need to come together and agree, look, it's not about what I will eat today. It's about sustaining your business and making sure that your business is there for the next generation. And for it to happen, we need a good margin. I'm tired of people who cannot maintain their equipment because we just have to make, have you heard that statement? They say we just want to make the machine run. Why don't you just shut it down? You don't need to just make it run. Shut it down. It's better. You can't make it run at a loss. It's not possible. And that's the genesis of price war. I just want to work because I'm hungry and I want to eat. Please add more value. Apart from pricing, can you add value? Can you make sure that when you tell the customer that they will get the job on Friday, 12 o'clock, when they come at 11:30, the job is already? That's value. So let's look beyond pricing and add value to whatever we're doing. And that's what the organizers do. The one in my area is the arrogant one. So if I have flat tire in my area, I manage it to the one in the area of, because it's a jovial guy, pumping my tire, giving me list of what's going on in town. So that's the value that he's adding. Even though their pricing are the same, but he's adding value, and the value I appreciate. So I will walk past this one and go to the next one. And that's what we need to start thinking about. It's insane. It's totally crazy for us to continue with this price war, especially with the CTP and CTCP operators, and especially with the landmark people. How can you print at 30 naira per square meter? Does it make sense? How can you sell CTP plate at 3,500? It's below the cost price. Come on. It doesn't make sense at all. So we need to look inward to correct some of these problems that we have created.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. That's a good one. I'm glad about that. There's another one here. And I think maybe Mr. Jotu will answer first, and then Mr. Ekin can also add to it. The world is currently faced with twin shocks: the pandemic and the oil price war. This has a multifaceted impact on our industry. What advice do you give to an investor in the printing industry regarding the dwindling exchange rates? So, for instance, machines right now, possibly because of the dollar rate, will go up, will not be the same price. So, I need to leave this because I was meant to know earlier this morning that Nigeria's bad debt will have effects on the Naira. And as a result, the Naira might not be rescued to come down and might then become skyrocketing. We might not, we don't have control. We don't have any control over that as an industry. So what do we do? Do we refrain from investing, or despite, Mr. Akin just said that cost of inflation doesn't grow even when deflation is so high, and cost of other consumables are going up. So that, as it is right now, maybe a machine at 20 million naira is now 25 million naira as a regards of the dollar rate. What do you advise? What advice do you give to an investor in the printing industry regarding the dwindling exchange rates? Thank you.
My advice has to be, let us hold down for now. If you really want to invest, COVID-19 has come, and we don't know when the lifting or the restriction will be lifted. So if you want to make an investment now, can you hold on? Even so many countries too are currently in a lockdown. So can you wait and let the restriction be lifted? Then we can see a level of stability in the exchange rates. But if you think that, okay, yes, this is the right time for you to make an investment, then it shows that maybe you have money somewhere. And another fallout of this COVID-19 is, can we think of alternative if you actually want to get any machine or whatever into the country? If there's no alternative, then go ahead and pay the price. But if there's going to be an alternative, there's an alternative for us to use, why not? Why not we look inward and see what we can do within the country, or what we can do even within Africa, so that the rates of exchange, our capital flights will be very, very reduced. But my major advice is for us to cool down and let there be stability. Let there be stability in the sector. We say you want to make an investment, but if not, let's look at alternative. If there's no alternative, then you have to bear the brunt. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. Mr. King, to add to it, let me just add another question that can be relative to this. Mr. Onyeka Nonye, he said, what of paper and raw materials price regulation? This one major reason that leads to price war. Okay, so paper and raw materials, consumables, all not done in Nigeria. All of this still has to do with dollar rates. We're buying from the international market. And the more we continue to do that, I mean, the same price you buy today won't be the same price you're buying tomorrow. So for those who have gone into that area already, possibly the supply of inks and other consumables, if at this point in time the price triples or even doubles, so what do we do? So how do we address that in a little way? Mr. Akin?
Okay, when it comes to matter of investing, to me, it's sweet and sour. You can never tell a man to invest and when not to invest, because it totally depends on style. And so if we look at a market like this, are there some opportunities that have come up with the emergence of this pandemic? Obviously, yes. I mean, I hear people talking about paper and raw material. Meanwhile, there are people in the industry that have done well with services. If 2 or 3 of those come together and say we want to go into the raw material and extraction sector, so we can make sure that it's available, we can make sure that the consumables we need, the paper we need and all that is available, making it not rocket science. There are easy ways of doing it now with a lot of ways of making this happen now. But you see, in investing, we have to think, is there a market? And if you ask me, if there is a market, then it doesn't matter if the dollar rate is 1,500 to 1. As long as there is a market, the people will pay back for it and make sure that your investment is covered. Why is Dangote still going on with building a refinery? Because there is a market. Once a refinery is done, the man will make back his money. He determines how much he's going to sell it. So if we can get the top people, the big people come together and help us in that area of investing, we can't wait for government for everything. Our paper mills cannot give us anything effective. Even if they bring the paper mill back today, it's obsolete. It cannot give us anything modern. And I see that business drives any economy, drives any nation. Can we rethink? Can we become a bit more bold in moving out of our comfort zone? There are 4 or 5 big people that can come together and set up a refinery. I mean, a paper manufacturing refinery. So we can have paper, so sorted out. Think up locally. There is no way we can continue to remain outside world will be more competitive. I know that you will come to me and ask me about power supply and the infrastructure also need to tackle. Can we come together as an industry to make sure that we sort out power? There must be some way to do it. There are nano grids going on around the world. There is windmill being used around the world to power a whole community. There must be a way around it. There are investors outside Nigeria that are looking to come in. We must gather those people with integrity and put them in the forefront and gather a lot of funds behind them and make them help us bring these things and make them up there. There are opportunities we have to get what we want. We can go on and go on and go on and go on with the problems, but I think that today should be about solutions. What are the things that we can do to make life easier for ourselves? And there's so many options. We just need to reinvent. We need to rethink. We even need, as a matter of urgency in this printing industry, to set up a think tank for us. What kind of equipment can our technical people build that will be acceptable to Nigeria and at what price? So there's a need to slightly differently, and that's my own opinion. I don't know, but is it the time to invest? Yes, it is. But what is it that you want to invest in? It must be something that is needed. And you know what they say about the early birds? You eat the best of the one. So if anyone invests early, then there are opportunities for them also. It doesn't matter what they're selling. You sell what.
You sell and control the price before the crashers will come in. All right, I believe all questions have been answered. Our time is fast spent. We spent more than 1 hour 30 minutes. I want to say a big thank you to Technology Global, and I also want to say a very big thank you to Where to Print CMYK Limited. Thank you so much. We are very, very glad. We do appreciate you. Your very wonderful, insightful, and enlightening presentations are really, really well applauded. Thank you so much. And I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has been part of this. All the people who log in. We are sorry we are able to thank everybody for the registered professionals strictly. Maybe when we're having another one, we'll make it more open and we will try as much as possible to accommodate more people other than those who are streaming on YouTube and those who are streaming on Facebook. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to call it a day. For those who registered, we have one your information already. So we could send you the slides on request. If you want the slides, let us know. You can reply the emails and then we'll send the slides to you. Also, further questions will be treated into the emails to our speakers and you'll definitely be contacted via your email. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful one. I must say that my head is spinning already with all the information I'm trying to digest right here. And I'm sure it's the same with all of our audiences as well. Thank you very much. We'll call it a day from here. Next one will surely notify everyone and now will be part of it. Thank you so much. Mr. K and Mr. Ajodu, thank you so much. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you, Via, for bringing this to an end right now. Thank you.